I have so many of these other clips that I want to share with you about how the tyrannical left are calling President Trump a dictator. And they're saying that if he goes into office for a second term, they're saying that it'll be the last election America ever have. And they're also saying that if President Trump goes into office for a second term, not if, but when he does, they said it's going to be a civil war. So who's going to kick that off? Who's going to kick that off? Listen to this. This is on the Communist News Network. Listen to this.
Essentially saying that the 4 indictments that Trump is facing, are Joe Biden weaponizing the Department of Justice to go against a political opponent in Donald Trump. And the thing to note here is that a lot of his supporters do believe this. They do believe that there is a 2-tier justice system.
I do want to ask you about this because there is a flipping of the script here where Donald Trump has gone after Joe Biden, saying he's the one that's destroying democracy, something that you see a lot, something that Donald Trump is accused of. He will then turn and put that on his opponents.
I mean, y'all hearing this, right? So here it is. They have 4 indictments against President Trump. And then they have these 90-something fraudulent charges against President Trump. But yet President Trump is the one trying to destroy democracy. They're doing this. Never has this ever happened before. Listen to this. Here, I got another one for you. They're ignoring that the DOJ has been weaponized against President Trump and the American people.
But now he is trying to flip the script, saying that it's actually Joe Biden who is bad for democracy, and using an argument we have heard him make before, essentially saying that the 4 indictments against him are Joe Biden's way of using the Department of Justice essentially to attack a political opponent, that opponent being Donald Trump. Take a listen to what he said.
Joe Biden is the destroyer of American democracy, and it's him and his people. So if Joe Biden wants to make this race a question of which candidate will defend our democracy and protect our freedoms, and I say to Crooked Joe, and he is crooked, the most corrupt president we've ever had, we will win that fight, and we're going to win it very big. Crooked Joe Biden.
You hear that?
Crooked Joe Biden.
I had to add that one in there.
Crooked Joe Biden.
That's a good one. It's a new one, right? That's a good one. Come on, you have to know it's a good one.
Crooked Joe Biden.
So, I just thought of something. And look, you don't have to participate if you don't want to. But look, if y'all want to get me, if someone wants to help me get one of those T-shirts, you want to help me get one of the T-shirts, can you do a Rumble rant for me? Can you do a Rumble rant? If you do a Rumble rant in there, and I think Jeremy will send me one then. He'll send me one then. If someone wants to bless me with the T-shirt, Rapture ready. Maybe hit me up with a Rumble rant. I'm just asking. You don't have to. It's just a request. It's just a request. Okay? I'm just figure I just throw it out there. It's just your discretion. It's just your discretion. Okay, let me show you another one really quick because we're going to run out of time here, I'm sure. This one, is this it here? This one, they're saying it's a warning if Trump goes back into office. Listen.
All these new warnings about what could happen if there is a second Trump presidency. Robert Kagan writes, the country's on a clear path to dictatorship. David Frum says it could put the country in a constitutional crisis more terrible than anything seen since the Civil War. So Trump sees this, and his response, and we played this out a little while ago, was to basically say, Joe Biden is the destroyer of democracy.
And he's trying now to convince people that Joe Biden is the threat to democracy because that's why Donald Trump is being charged with these crimes, because Joe Biden's Justice Department is coming after Joe Biden's political enemy. There's no evidence, zero, that Joe Biden's Justice Department is doing this to achieve political goals for Joe Biden. That's not stopping Donald Trump. And significantly, John, it's not going to stop tens of millions of supporters of Donald Trump who believe wholeheartedly what he is describing here.
It's not that we believe wholeheartedly what he's describing. We all see what they are describing.
These are the new talking points because they're afraid of what's going to happen next week. Next week, Mike Johnson's trying to bring to the floor the vote to escalate a formal impeachment inquiry, and they know they got the goods. So they're trying to put the message out there, oh, there's nothing there, there's nothing there. But today, in a press conference, somebody asked Biden about his friendship with Hunter's business partners, and he said it was all lies. But the thing that stood out to me is that 40%, according to the poll, to this report, 40% of Democrats believe Biden has done something wrong, and 70% of Americans believe that Biden is corrupt. So the fact that CNN is doing this is because of that. Because so many people do believe Biden is guilty. He is corrupt. It's an election year. They see what's happening to Trump. They see that it's faulty. And you know what? They're not going to stand for it. I believe, just like we've seen with many of the minority communities and such, they're seeing through the smoke and mirrors now.
Yeah, they're seeing right through it. Okay, let me share this other one with for you, because look, this is because see, I'm pretty sure y'all haven't seen some of these videos. I purposely got these because I'm willing to bet you haven't seen them. Listen to what they're saying here. Listen.
Hearing from Liz Cheney this morning saying that if you vote for Trump, it could be the last election you ever get to vote in. What is
you hear this? The last election that you ever get to vote
behind this urgency we're now hearing from more and more Republicans?
But now he is saying that it is actually Joe Biden that is a threat to the country. And he's using an argument that he's used before, saying that the 4 indictments that he has been currently charged with are all because Joe Biden is using his position as president to weaponize the Justice Department and take it out on his political opponent, being Donald Trump.
Is that not what he's been doing? It's never happened in the history of this nation before. They have actually weaponized it against President Trump, aka the American people. Now, here's Liz Cheney, what they were just referring to. Listen to Liz Cheney, this witch.
One of the things that we see happening today is a sort of a sleepwalking into dictatorship in the United States.
Wow, pretty powerful.
Liz's hatred of Trump is real. I understand why people don't like what he does and says at times, but in terms of actions and results, he was far better president for Biden. And if we have 4 more years of this, Liz Cheney, then we won't recognize America and the world will be truly on fire.
Liz Cheney's the one that's walking us into a sleeper, or Joe Biden is actually walking us into a sleeping dictatorship. And the Democrats are so blind and they're so asleep to the facts, they don't even know this. I got another one I want to try to squeeze in here really quick for you. Just let me play it. Watch.
Liz Cheney this morning on the Today Show, McKay, said that it's very possible that if Trump actually is returned to the White House, this might be the last presidential election in our lifetimes, because he could subvert the Constitution, subvert.
Are you hearing this? This could be the last election in our lifetimes. Are you hearing this? So who's going to?
Democracy.
Liz Cheney says the U.S. is sleepwalking into dictatorship. Her words. Is there any reason to think Republican voters, though, are listening?
Well, there's one group of Republican voters that are not listening, and those are the Republican voters who are dedicated to Donald Trump and stick with him through thick and thin.
Well, I think that statement is hyperbolic. Personally, I guess I have more faith in our constitutional order and our institutions. I have more faith in our constitutional order and our institutions than perhaps Representative Cheney, who I respect greatly, is espousing right now.
Having worked in the White House, you spend the first week trying to find the restrooms. I mean, it's not an easy place to learn how to operate.
So who is he talking about here that can't find the restroom? He can't be talking about Joe Biden because Joe Biden wears a diaper, right? Because if it's not on his card to go tell him to use the restroom, he'll just go in his pants. He's talking about President Trump. Listen to this real quick, because he's talking about President Trump being a bus driver. Like President Trump is the madman behind the bus. Why get rid of the current bus driver for a madman?
So this guy winds up getting a bus. He doesn't know how to drive the bus. And so he spends the first 4 years learning how to drive the bus, and there were people in there who were slowing him down and putting up the guardrails. This time, that won't be the case. You got 4 years to get ready. He's got a team of weirdos and wackos who.
What? He's saying Trump has a team of weirdos and wackos? Every man in Biden's administration has a dress on with lipstick. And then the women in the administration don't even know if they're women or not. Make that make sense. Okay, you can get off the screen. I'm not going to have enough time to get to them talking about President Trump. He said he gets to a point where he says President Trump is a madman driving the bus. Why would we want to put a madman driving the bus? Who's driving the bus right now? Joe Biden. What? These people are a bunch of idiots. They want everyone to believe that Joe Biden is doing so great, so great. They're saying that there's going to be a civil war if President Trump goes back into office. So who's going to start off the civil war? And who has the guns? So who are they going to shoot and with what? Pink bullets? Are you kidding me? See, most Republicans, they've been buying firearms, and then they go out on a boat trip and they lose them in the river. And all the bullets they've been buying, they're just anchor weights for their fishing. You get what I'm saying? These evil people on the left think that they're going to disarm all of us and they're just going to bring in whatever it is. They are the ones doing dictatorship right now.
You like the content Will Johnson is producing? To stay informed and up to date with the current events, go ahead and hit the thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos like this one. Also, to find Will Johnson, visit www.uaf.media.